brow, chicka brow, brow. Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rob's Rogues and the Batman universe. And today we're taking a look at the Red Hood and the Outlaws DC Collectibles Starfire New 52 action figure. I can't whistle for anything. We will get into all of what this is in just a little bit. I've always been a Starfire fan. I kind of stumbled onto the Teen Titans by the way of Batman Lonely Place of Dying, which is the origin of Tim Drake in the old continuity. And that story crossed over to the New Titans, and that was my first exposure. Sorry for the bad joke. First exposure to what Nightwing was doing, or what Dick Grayson was doing, and then being with the Teen Titans. And I really found the Teen Titans very interesting, or the New Titans as they were back then in 1989. So the Titans have seen a lot of iterations and changes throughout their history. And if you've watched any of the Teen Titans Go or things like that, Starfire is a very predominant character in that. Now, in the New 52, they decided to change things up quite a bit and say that Starfire was never a part of the Teen Titans at all. She has a relationship with Dick Grayson that they really haven't gotten into too much, but there are references to Corey having a relationship with Dick Grayson. She is currently kind of dated Jason just a little bit, but has been the girlfriend of Roy Harper. So we'll take a look at her packaging here. So you can see the Red Hood and the Outlaws in the back, and again I'll get into the costume and what I think once we get the figure out of package. But there is the Red Hood and the Outlaws logo there with the Batman logo in. We have the side art. This is sculpted by Jack Matthews. The side art, which I really like, that this kind of looks Poison Ivy-esque a little bit. I kind of had to do a double take, but you can see her hair kind of right here. I really like these silhouettes. I have been cutting these out and saving the silhouettes. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Maybe I'll scan them and kind of make one big mural of all of the figures that I have. We'll take a look at the back of the package here. Now, I'm probably going to really mispronounce where she's from, so don't fry me to the stake here. From Tamarania, I believe that's how you say that. I'm probably wrong, but I apologize. Princess to slave to outlaw. The intergalactic superhero Starfire is all ablaze with this new comic action figure based on the designs from her action-packed monthly comic book, Red Hood and the Outlaws. Collect them all. The other figures in the set are Arsenal, Roy Harper. We have Starfire, and the figure that a lot of people have been waiting for, Red Hood Jason Todd. And why Red Hood was not the first figure in the wave, I will not understand. I was somebody that I've been wanting to make a Red Hood custom. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I thought, as soon as I make one, as soon as I start the process, we're going to get one. And I almost started. So a first official Red Hood action figure to look without using Mr. Terrific's body and all those wonderful things for your DCUC. We are going to get a Red Hood action figure. And my luck, he'll be the third and final figure in the set. So, without any further ado, let's get Starfire out of package, and we will get a closer look at this action figure. We will be right back.
All right, please welcome our next lovely lady to the stage, all the way from Tamaran, the former princess of Tamaran, who was later sold into slavery and is now an outlaw. She calls herself Coriandia, but you know her better as Starfire!
Okay, I'm not exactly sure where that was going, but we'll get back to a more normal review. Of course, this is Starfire, the first figure released from the Red Hood and the Outlaws wave from DC Collectibles. And it's kind of a surprising first choice for a figure. I think everybody kind of assumed that we would get Red Hood, Jason Todd, then probably Arsenal, and then Starfire. Or maybe what I kind of thought was going to happen, and I'm kind of glad, or I would have been really broke, is that I assumed we would get all three figures all in one shot, kind of like what they did with the Teen Titans. But I think being that there's only three figures or 3 team members for this team. They decided to break them out over the course of months or weeks or whatever it might be. I actually think the next wave will be both Arsenal and Red Hood, so it's kind of surprising that Starfire makes the first appearance. I thought she might be last, but I think they're going to go kind of in reverse order. Not that she's the least favorite. She's been a big fan favorite for quite a while. Obviously, her character likeness has been represented in the Teen Titans kid cartoon series, and then obviously in the pages of the Teen Titans comics as well, and that's where I first got my first introduction to her by way of the Lonely Place of Dying story that brought the introduction of the Tim Drake character. So I got to find out a whole bunch of new characters in the Teen Titans. So I think she's done very, very well. Probably one of the most beautifully sculpted figures, and I'm not just saying that just because she's a female figure. I think if you go back to my Wonder Girl figure, I was giving her high praise that she was just sculpted so, so well. I think that Starfire sculpt may be even a little bit better than a Wonder Girl sculpt. Excuse me as I'm gasping for air or whatever. Maybe just in the beauty of Starfire. But her, like I said, her sculpt is done very well. The face, I think they really captured the look of Starfire in her face. Sometimes faces are hit and miss. Some could say a little bit anime-ish. She is an alien, so it has that alien-esque vibe in her eyes. The sparkly shade of green that the whole eye encompasses is just done very well. The purple lipstick that she has also has the purple sparkle that matches the clothes that she's wearing, what little there may be of the clothes. But the one thing I really like, and it's kind of her defining character, is her hair that is kind of like hair but fire at the same time. So just the different layers in her hair are sculpted very beautifully. You can see just individual strands here, or clumps of strands, and then kind of her bangs underneath look a little bit kind of shaven a little bit, but you have this free-flowing mane, and then just the parts of the hair that just kind of wisp off the side of her face and kind of wrap around to the back of her neck are just sculpted beautifully. And then the long kind of fire tail that she has. And this is all one hard piece. Let's get this backed out a little bit more so you can see it. This is all one piece. I originally thought this was going to be pliable, or maybe the hair would detach from here. So if you didn't want the whole strand of hair, and I was trying to feel and see if it does come off. I don't think it does. I haven't seen anybody else's review do that. But that's what I initially thought. Another thing, I thought this was going to be like a pipe cleaner type thing, that you could have the hair bent to be more of a point. Or another thing that I thought that it was going to do was kind of be like a flight stand, which I thought would have been a cool feature, that you could have had Starfire kind of hover above the 2 other characters if you chose to do so. But here again, it doesn't do that. It's just all one molded piece. And as you can tell, it's not stopping her from falling over. So they have a really good weight displacement on the character, so she's not toppling over. Because this is a heavier piece here. It's a lot heavier than a cape would be. But you can just see, even from the side, how they have the hair that kind of swoops back in and then curves back over to really displace her weight. So you can get her in some pretty good poses, and her hair is going to help hold her back. So I thought that was a really, really unique design, the way they sculpted the hair. Yeah, it could get in the way of some things. I mean, granted, there's not a Starfire mobile that you can't put her in a vehicle. Not that you would want to. But without trying to be objectifying to the figure, I do want to zoom in only just to show the sculpt that they have on her. Granted, you could say what you will for female characters and all of that. I'm not trying to get into that debate or anything, and trying to show off the sexual side of a Starfire character, even though that is how she is written, more so in the New 52. I'm just going to kind of let that go, and you can have your own thoughts and opinions about the Starfire character that you wish. I was not a huge fan of Scott Lobdell's I guess, portrayal of Starfire, or even just the whole gang in general. I know it's a New 52, and he took some liberties and licenses with the characters and had them act in certain ways. Yes, they really over-sexualized, if that's even a word, made her a sexual alien being. So I can see some of the people kind of being upset with that. I think the 3 characters got a lot better after Scott Lobdell left. I managed to stay on for 30-some-odd issues, and it got better once James Tynion wrote over, and Pfeiffer was writing it for a while, but then he left to write the Teen Titans, and now Scott Lobdell is back, and I dropped the book after I think maybe I have 31 issues, maybe 30 issues, and I just, not to say I couldn't take it anymore, but it just wasn't becoming a fun read, and these are 3 of my favorite characters, and I don't think they were written very well, but I like the characters as my phone is chiming here. So let's get into some articulation for Starfire. We'll get it just a little bit tighter here. Her head is on a nice ball joint. Now, because there is so much weight on her, she doesn't want to turn very well. She can look left to the right slightly, but her hair causes more of a rocking action. With the hair kind of being down to the bottom part of her legs, she won't look back hardly at all. I think she probably could have if this hair piece wasn't on here. She looks down a little bit, and like I said, left to right. It's more, you can't hear it click, but it more kind of locks into one spot and then locks into another. So very minimal head movement, but again, that is contributed to her hair, so I'm going to let that go. The shoulder pads remind me of Darkseid's shoulder pads as they kind of rotate up so you can get the arms to move up and down and they won't break or get in the way, that it doesn't hinder the movement at all. Nice ball and socket here. They're really kind of stiff, so they do go forward and back. They would rotate full 360. I'd have to kind of get around the hair here. She does turn up at the bicep here. Single bend at the elbow. No hand or wrist or gauntlet rotation. No ab crunch, no waist swivel, as this would look totally weird breaking up the her belly region. It would kind of look really kind of ugly, so they didn't do anything there. Legs go forward just a little bit and back a little bit more than it does go forward. They do go out on the T-joint hips, and I do have some gold in here. Sorry, Starfire, to do this in between her legs from purple from where the crotch piece was probably not finished drying when the legs were put in. So when the legs are straight forward, I didn't even really realize it at first until I saw the figure. So I think I could probably, yeah, some of the stuff is scraping right off. So probably take a little bit of a brush here and I could get rid of some of this. So actually that's not going to be too bad at all. Not that I'm going to have her doing the splits or anything. She's basically going to be standing on my shelf. I don't think, yep, she does. She has a high boot right above the knee swivel on both legs. A single bend at the knee, and then a little bit of a foot ankle pivot, and that is about it. I would say more of a ankle bend. So for the Starfire character, not a lot of articulation, but you are getting a very beautifully sculpted figure. And again, one I think is a little bit better than Wonder Girl. And I gave Wonder Girl really high praise as just being a very well sculpted and executed figure. And I don't mean that by, you know, objectifying the woman action figure and saying, oh, she's beautiful because, you know, she's a woman. I'm saying that they sculpted her very, very well, and Wonder Girl up to this point was one of my favorite sculpted figures. Sometimes with a woman action figure, they can get a little bulky and they kind of lose their woman form, and I believe it's Jack Matthews. I'll check the box again. Yes, Jack Matthews sculpted another amazing figure. So what I like to do right now Since I don't have any of the other Red Hood and the Outlaws, I would like to do something else to kind of show you what I'm going to do with the Starfire character. And as you can see right here, I'm going to slowly put together my Teen Titans together. Of course, we know that Cyborg of a New 52 is part of the Justice League, and I'm trying to decide how I'm going to have all of my teams and everything built. So I'm thinking coming off of the side of Cyborg, I'll kind of do Red Hood and the Outlaws coming out this way and the Teen Titans coming out the other way. If I can kind of pull this off to kind of have one big, huge, you know, arcing Justice League, and then out from each of the members of the Justice League you would have the individual teams, or maybe I'll just put all the Teen Titans together, or the Teen Titans that should be there together. I do like Cyborg and the Teen Titans, and I do like Starfire in the Red Hood and the Outlaws, but I really think in the New 52 this would be a very powerful team to also to have Red Robin and Beast Boy and Superboy all in the same team with everybody else. I think this would be a really, really cool Teen Titans team, but maybe that'll happen somewhere down the line. So kind of currently at the moment, I'm going to have Starfire standing with my Teen Titans as I don't have the other Outlaws. Alright, final thoughts on Starfire here. I think she's a beautifully well-sculpted figure. Yes, she is pleasing to the eye and everything, but if you leave all that outside of it, I think DC Collectibles really, really knocked one out of the park. And the thing that really amazes me about this figure is just the way her hair is sculpted, and that the hair weighs that much and it does not topple the character over. I mean, yes, if you had her bent a little bit farther towards the back at the knee, she will rock over as any character would, but that I could have her almost completely standing perfectly straight and that hair is not going to knock her over. Even simple tapping on the table here, she's moving, wanting to slide off a table, but she's not wanting to flip to the back. The paint applications are absolutely flawless. Yes, I pointed out a little bit here, but I think that's just some flaking off. So once I kind of remove those little flakes, I don't see any overspray, any paint mess up apps. Everything about the face looks great. Just a well sculpted figure and a very well painted. And the only word I could use to describe is just a very well executed figure. If Arsenal and Red Hood are as good as Starfire is, this is going to be a fantastic, phenomenal wave, and I hope every single DC collectible figure is as perfect of a figure as Starfire is. Now, you may not like the way the hair is sculpted. If you just kind of want to have a little bit shorter hair, there's some things I would have liked to have seen done with it, but what they have done I think is actually perfect for the character, and it's, again, she's able to stand completely on her own, and I did not think that was possible once I realized how the hair was sculpted. So I've never really given a rating out of a lot of the figures I've done, but so far this is a 10 out of 10 in my book. Just a perfect figure. I wish the comic was as good as the figure is, but now I've got a perfect figure for maybe not a so perfect comic. So I didn't even point this out as I'm trying to get into the end of the review here. Even her fingernails are painted, and all of them. They are no oversprays or anything like that. The thumb is painted here, but she does have a fist. So yeah. Just a well done figure. If you were on the fence about Starfire, I say go pick her up. You will not be disappointed in the slightest. So today we've been taking a look at Starfire, the first figure from the Red Hood and the Outlaws wave by DC Collectibles. And as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues and the Batman Universe signing off, saying we will see you guys next time.